Today I'm going to talk to you about how to finance a foreclosure. So this is a question I get a lot. I get it. So I came in the business in 2007. So it was right as the housing market collapsed. So the bulk of my business growing up, as I like to call it, in the mortgage industry was financing foreclosures. So it's something near and dear to my heart and something that everyone should understand. So today I'm going to talk to you about a couple different types of foreclosures and when not a traditional lender can help you out, okay? So the first thing is foreclosures that happen on the courthouse steps. Yes, that is a real thing. So sometimes what happens is a property will be offered on the courthouse steps. Now, there's a couple things with those. Usually you don't get to see the property beforehand. You won't necessarily know if it has any liens. It's literally like seeing a picture of a house and being like, hey, do you want to pay $500,000 for this? That's what it's like. And there's a lot of savvy investors who know the property market well enough where they can go, yeah, that's good. Or, heck no, that's a terrible idea. But the key thing is that if you need a loan, a traditional lender is not what you're going to get on this. You need to be able to pay cash money right there on the courthouse steps. And a traditional lender, we don't work like that. We have to be able to, we're not just looking at you, we're looking at the property. So unless we have title work, seeing if the property has any liens we don't know about. What if it's red tagged? That used to happen a lot. So what a red tagged house means is that it's in violation of something. So what would happen back in the day is people would buy stuff on the courthouse steps and then they would find out oh my God, this house has $100,000 in red tag fines. So they thought they were getting a deal, but in reality, no deal. No deal. And they had to fix all that stuff. Otherwise, the county keeps on assessing fines against the property. So you really need to make sure if you're going to those courthouse steps that this is savvy investor stuff. I've been doing this for what feels like 400 years. I would never buy a house on the courthouse steps unless I knew the person who lived there and I could sneak in, check everything out, have my title people do the title work. No, just no. But once again, if you're a savvy investor, you've got a lot of cash on hand, that's great. Now, there are hard money lenders that will do loans for properties such as that. What a hard money lender is, basically, it's your Uncle Al in an alley who's going to give you, you tell him that you'll do 30%, he'll do the other 70%, and he can make it so that you have the cash to go do that. And look, some of those guys are really legit and wonderful, but hard money is expensive money. It's not cheap, don't expect it to be 3%, expect it to be 9 to 10 to 12, depending on the circumstance, plus terms that are less than savory. That's why it's called hard money, as in you have to be hard up to get this. So courthouse steps. Now let's talk about one of my favorites. My favorites are the ones where they're represented by realtors. So you'll see HUD homes. You'll also see, a Fannie Mae or a Freddie Mac foreclosure, 9 out of 10 times, they're gonna have a realtor representing that property. And the reason is they want the most money. They don't wanna just hope someone shows up on the court steps and writes a check. They want real buyers, and the way to get real buyers is to get real lenders. That's right. So that works just like a normal sale. The only difference is, and I always tell my clients, I'm look, you're buying a foreclosure, so here's what you need to expect. It's gonna take 1 billion years for them to respond to anything you ask. You cannot nickel and dime a foreclosure, a foreclosure bank. An asset manager, if you're I need the holes replaced in the bathroom from where the pictures were. Yeah, no, you shouldn't be buying a foreclosure. Oh, there's a leak under the sink. We need you, no, no. Most foreclosure properties are as is, meaning that's the way it's gonna come, okay? Now, some foreclosure properties are actually really nice. Back in the day, Fannie used to clean up a bunch of them and they'd do new carpet or painting, depending on what the realtor suggested, so they could get the most money. But if it is falling down, if it is a total, excuse my language, but a POS, you need to make sure you tell your lender, hey, I went in the house and there's no toilets. Is that a problem? Because the lender will probably say, yeah, that's a total problem. We have to get you qualified for a renovation loan. And Whether or not the foreclosure bank will go for a renovation loan is 50-50. If they're working with a realtor, generally the realtor's already told them that they're gonna need cash or a renovation loan. So sometimes you'll see in the listing that the property requires a renovation loan. If you just wanna get a renovation loan so that it has wood floors, granite, and nicer walls, probably not gonna go with that, because what you have to keep in mind is they have a dead asset right now. So they made the loan on the expectation that they would be making money every single month. That is not happening right now. It is dead. So they want it to come back to life and make them money, or they want it out of their hair. And if you decide that you want to do like a 90-day escrow so that you can get new paint and floors and the house is in decent condition, the odds of them going for that are slim. Like the house would have to be on the market for a long time for them to consider that, because they need that asset making money. Okay? Let's see here. What else? Oh, auctions. Now, the auctions are really tricky because there's like 50 different types, and it depends on who the provider is. So sometimes there'll be, like back in the day, there are these huge auctions, and like, you know, Countrywide or Washington Mutual, whoever it was at the time, before they got acquired, would do these huge auctions, and they would have lenders there to get you pre-approved and everything else. And so basically they were cutting out the realtor, but they were still giving you the option to inspect the property, do an appraisal, all the stuff you would normally do when you're buying a house. And something like that can be a really good experience. The one thing that I experienced consistently with all of these is the title and escrow companies that they would use would take forever. So you just have to have a sense of humor, but you need to know what you're going into. So you want to make sure with any auction, you read the terms and conditions, because what I've seen with some of the online ones, like they have a lot of bite to them. You know, it could be like, yes, we'll let you get a loan. However, if you can't get a loan, you have to give us 5%, non-refundable. Like there's some terms and conditions that I've read over the years where I'm like, you would have to be crazy to even bid in that auction. That's insane. So it's super important that you read the terms and conditions and that they allow for a lender. And it's usually pretty clear and easy to determine if you can have a lender or not. But the normal stuff that you'd have, like a loan contingency, generally evaporates with auction sites. So be aware of that. The key thing with any of this is make sure that the lender you're working with understands foreclosures and has been in that market. You know, I know there's a lot of great new lenders. They're great. They're talented. Like they were like I was when I was, you know, chomping at the bit. But it does help to have someone who goes, okay, did you look at this, this, and this? Okay, here's the problem. Here's this. And experience does help with that. So just make sure that whoever you're talking to, you know, if they're not experienced, they at least take the time to go read the auction site for the terms and conditions and help you out with that. Because if they won't even do that, like, why are you giving them your business? Why? Don't do it. There's a lot of good lenders that will help you not make a mistake. So make sure you look for them. Questions, comments, as always, I've got to do my pitch. I'm licensed in 37 states, so if you need anything, I'm here for you. I do mortgages. But yeah, hope that helps.